Visions, I've seen it in my manifestation. I'm sleeping this guy and gonna create the most viral knockout
That's
ever.
what we need.
We're sparring.
Warm up.
Some
I know
8-year-olds.
one thing.
I got
If
the
find
8-year-olds
out
in there.
anything, If I find out anything, I'm gonna beat your ass, and I'm gonna beat Jaden on Love. On my mama, I'm gonna beat both of y'all ass.
Jake Paul were like to beat him or even like knock him out.
Dude, Tank's a 3-division world champion, 4-time 3-division world champion. At the end of it, bro, you can't take anything away from him.
Gervonta Davis just erupted after Jake Paul allegedly claimed he'd knock him out in only 3 rounds, a dig that added real stakes to the already noisy buildup. Critics and insiders say this fight puts Davis's reputation on the line, as it's rare for someone of his standing to face such a mismatch.
Because he's the bona fide world champion. I don't care if he's much smaller. I think Jake Paul has sort of plateaued as far as where his boxing is concerned. It's rather low level. Yeah. He's big, he's physical, he's strong, he can hit. So there is that risk. Davis, at lightweight, you're in a moment where it's too physical for you. You can clinch. Against the heavyweight, where you clinching? You ain't getting out of that corner just clinching anymore if you run out of space. You know what I mean? So it's interesting. But Davis, listen, there's a lot of talking points that I'm sure we'll get into when this gets closer to the fight. Davis can still punch at lightweight. Can he drop a heavyweight? There's a lot to gain there, right? If Davis knocks
The answer is yes.
If Davis drops Jake on his ass, as much as Davis is the one with more to lose, it's still a highlight moment.
A visual that will stay forever.
Yeah, but if you get dropped, even if you're smaller, you're still a world champion, multiple weight classes. If you get dropped, what's the look? What's the feel? On the inside, as boxers, me and Chris Algieri, the champ, even you, Jimmy, you have fight experience, so we know that the risk is a big guy that big hits you. You're probably going down if you're a small guy if he hits you clean. So we know the risk, but how does it look to the public eye who don't understand that? You know what I mean? The public. So there is a lot to lose, though. There's a bit to gain. I wouldn't necessarily have an issue with this had Davis's career arc been one that benefited boxing. Davis was manufactured and put into a position where he's supposed to benefit boxing, and I don't think he has. I think he's hurt boxing. So by giving him this reward, that's my problem. Why are we watching this? Why don't you make him earn his spot that he still hasn't earned, mind you?
And a defeat would raise serious questions. At the same time, if Davis can overcome the hype, size, and power advantages Paul brings, the victory would be memorable, a moment that could define how fans in the sport of boxing remember him forever. Jake Paul has ramped up the stakes by declaring he'll deliver the knockout of the year when he faces Gervonta Davis. He's clearly not treating this as just another fight. He wants a highlight that dominates headlines. His public statement suggests he sees this bout as a chance to validate himself, shock skeptics, and create a moment that can't be ignored in boxing lore. By aiming for the biggest knockout, Paul is betting not just on power, but on showmanship, pushing the idea that this clash is about more than victory. Rolly Romero has weighed in on potential fallout of a Jake Paul knockout over Gervonta Davis.
Because this thing is going to be watched by hundreds of millions globally. Jake, give the people one thing that you can guarantee that they're going to get on November 14th when they tune in to Netflix.
Yeah, you're gonna see the 2 biggest fighters in America go head to head with an amazing card. World championship fights back to back to back, and that's just how the MVP way we do it. And I'm gonna come for a knockout of the year again. I've seen it in my visions, I've seen it in my manifestation. I'm sleeping this guy and gonna create the most viral knockout ever.
Arguing it wouldn't seriously tarnish Tank's legacy. He reminds critics that Davis is already a 3-division world champion and a highly respected fighter in the boxing world. In Instagram reels and interviews, Romero emphasized that one loss or even a dramatic knockout doesn't erase years of achievements, titles, and dominance in multiple weight classes. Romero offers a grounded take on the Jake Paul versus Gervonta Tank Davis clash. He argues that regardless of what happens, Tank's legacy is secure. He's already a multi-division champ with serious accomplishments. Romero says Davis doesn't need to prove himself by beating Paul. That said,
To beat him or even like knock him out.
Dude, Tank's a 3-division world champion, 4-time 3-division world champion. At the end of it, bro, you can't take anything away from him. Bro, you can't be mad at somebody for doing what they feel is best for them. It's the same way Roach feels Tank is the best option for him. Same way that Stevenson thinks Tank's the best option for him, or like all that stuff, right? At the end of it, bro, we just want to do what's best for ourselves, right?
Facts.
Right or wrong.
Facts. Facts.
So just do what's best.
He doesn't dismiss the challenge. Romero admits Paul's size is real and gives him a physical edge. While the size difference is a legitimate factor, it doesn't erase what Tank has built over the years in boxing. Daniel Cormier was visibly stunned when he learned Davis would take on Jake Paul. In a recent short clip, DC called the match ridiculous, saying it felt like a mismatch and questioning why a high-level pro like Tank would step into the ring with an influencer boxer.
Where Tank might crack him, you don't know. Like I said, or as an exhibition, we don't know if they throw at each other or not, or we don't know. I don't know. I can't give an opinion because I don't know what's going on.
Do you think it impacts, will it impact Tank's legacy if Jake Paul were to beat him or even knock him out?
Dude, Tank's a 3-division world champion, 4-time 3-division world champion. At the end of it, bro, you can't take anything away.
He admitted he never expected this crossover fight for someone of Davis's stature to go down this route. He also expressed concern over the size and power disparities, wondering whether the spectacle could overshadow the integrity of Tank's career. KSI has criticized how hype and spectacle often drive these crossover matches, suggesting that they blur the line between sport and entertainment. In a recent video, he called out Jake Paul for ruining influence or boxing.
God, I was on a plane coming home from Las Vegas when Luis told me Gervonta Davis is fighting Jake Paul. I said, get the bleep out of here. I said, you're a bleep liar. Jake Paul is fighting Gervonta Tank Davis. There's one problem. He fights at 135 pounds. Gervonta Davis is that much better than Jake Paul at boxing. But Gervonta Davis in his last fight weighed 133.8 pounds. And I'm not over here in the business of just crapping on Jake Paul. I am much more respectful of what he's starting to build as a professional boxer. You're fighting a guy that's better than you. He's just much smaller. But that guy, because he's better than you, what if he wins? Everything Jake Paul has done is wiped completely out. Gervonta Davis loses to Jake Paul. Obviously, it's going to hurt who Gervonta Davis is. But he lost to a guy that's going to be upwards of 70 pounds bigger than him when he steps into the boxing ring. But I will tell you this right now, without a shadow of a doubt. I will watch this. Tank Davis is 30-0-1. You want to talk about Jake Paul fighting a real boxer? That's a real boxer. You can't make this stuff up, man. It's true. They're fighting.
Implying that some of Paul's promotional tactics bend narratives to gain attention rather than focus purely on athletic merit. Journalist Gareth A. Davies has expressed serious reservations about the upcoming Jake Paul versus Gervonta Tank Davis matchup, describing it as another example of boxing prioritizing spectacle over substance. Davies argues that with the glaring weight difference and the exhibition status,
I didn't.
Really?
Yeah.
You thought it was actually gonna... Bro, it's so crazy. I feel like so many people just believe everything online.
But that's pretty unbelievable on the other hand.
I feel like I know... Well, okay, how do I say it like this? Itoma versus White. I had a lot of people bet on White winning. And I'm there like, you guys don't watch boxing, do you? You just look at a record and go, oh, Dylan's fought many more people than Itoma. That record says a lot. Itoma's like 18, not 18, Itoma's 20, inexperienced, one. I just knew Itoma was gonna just destroy him. And I think a good fight for Itoma would be...
The bout undermines the fairness and competitive integrity that traditionally define the sport. According to him, the fight may attract mainstream attention and generate revenue, but in doing so, it risks eroding the credibility of boxing as a serious athletic contest. Tank has also admitted several things about Jake Paul's fight that genuinely worry him as fight night approaches. He repeatedly brings up power, saying he needs to test just how hard Jake can punch.
And into the fire, because we thought we were going to get Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua very soon. We'll speak to Frank Smith about that in the next section, obviously. Eddie Hearn was teasing it to me personally last week, £80 million on the table for Anthony Joshua to fight Jake Paul. But 8 inches in height difference, 7 weight divisions between them. 5 stone, 70 pounds between them. It's a joke. It's a circus fight as opposed to a disgrace of a fight, which was Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul. At least you feel in this you've got quite a poor, very big one against a pound-for-pound, brilliant, unbeaten little un. And the little un who'll come up to his navel will hit him with a lot of body shots. I said in the week to Danny Kelly and Charlie Brooker that, do I mean Charlie Brooker? No,
Baker.
Charlie Baker. That Charlie Brooker's a different person altogether. That he'll be throwing the Superman punch, the leaping left hook. It's going to be a very odd thing. It's called, in inverted commas, an exhibition bout. But everybody in boxing who is a name doesn't mind going in with Jake Paul because they know they're making millions of dollars. And that's the only reason that Gervonta Davis, who's being called the poison little elf by Jake Paul, and it'll be fun in the build-up. Everybody in boxing knows they're guaranteed to make millions of those silverbacks, those greenback notes that they give out in America, and they give them out for fun when Jake Paul fights. So he's not going to say no to it. But can you pick a winner in that fight?
Also concerned about Jake's size, reach, and how he uses them, since Tank's never faced someone with those attributes in a match like this. Tank knows Paul moves in different ways and has a mental toughness that has rattled past opponents.